Welcome to the session on fluid mechanics, part 2. Archimedes principle. This principle states that a body wholly or partially immersed in a fluid is buoyed up with a force which is equal to the weight of the volume of fluid the body displaces and which acts vertically upwards through the center of gravity of the immersed part of the body. The buoyancy force need not act through the center of gravity of the immersed body. Let us consider that a fluid is kept in the gravitational field. Now, the total body force acting on volume V of the fluid is F body is equal to negative of integral V F P dA. Let it be equation number 1. The total force due to pressure on the surface area A of volume V of the fluid is Fp is equal to negative of integral A cap P dA. Let it be equation number 2, where A cap is the outward normal unit vector on any point on the surface. Now, since the fluid is in the equilibrium, we have Fp plus F body is equal to 0, or Fp is equal to negative of F body. Let it be equation number 3. We may note that Fp is the total force due to pressure on the surface of the volume V, whether volume V is occupied by the fluid or not. This clearly reveals that a body immersed in a fluid experiences a force Fp due to pressure equal and opposite to the body force F body, which would be exerted on the volume V if it were occupied by the fluid in equilibrium. This is the Archimedes principle. Euler's equation of motion for a moving fluid. One can describe the motion of a fluid by following the motion of each individual fluid particle. However, that is a difficult one. There is a more convenient method for many purposes. In this process, one has to specify the density and velocity of the fluid at each point in space as a function of time. Here, we will follow this treatment. We specify the motion of fluid by density rho of x, y, z, t and velocity v of x, y, z, t. We may note that any quantity which is used to describe the state of a fluid is function of space coordinate x, y, z and time t. This will have a definite volume at each point in space and at each instant of time. We may note that there are two time rates of change for such a quantity. For example, one can consider pressure. The rate of change of pressure with time at a fixed point in space will be dou p divided by dou t, that is the total time derivative. Thus, we have dp by dt is equal to dou p by dou t plus dou p by dou x into dou x by dou t plus dou p by dou y into dou y by dou t plus dou p by dou z into dou z by dou t. Let it be equation number 4. Here, dou x by dou t, dou y by dou t and dou z by dou t are the component of the fluid velocity v. Rewriting equation 4 as dp divided by dt is equal to dou p divided by dou t plus Vx into dou p divided by dou x plus Vy into dou p divided by dou y plus Vz into dou p divided by dou z, or dp divided by dt is equal to dou p divided by dou t plus V into del p. Let it be equation number 5. One finds that a similar relation holds between partial and total derivative of any other quantity which describes the state of the fluid. One can express equation 4 symbolically as d by dt is equal to dou by dou t plus v dot del. Let it be equation number 6. This shows that the total time rate of increase can be resolved into a purely temporal part and a purely spatial part. However, for a stationary state or a steady state, dou by dou t is equal to 0. Let us consider a small volume element dV of a non-viscous fluid when its equilibrium. Then the body force F dV equals del P dV. Now, for the motion of this volume element, we have F dV minus del P dV is equal to rho dV into d square r divided by dt square. Let it be equation number 7. Here d square r divided by dt square is the acceleration of the element. From equation 7, one obtains Fx minus dou p divided by dou x is equal to rho into dou Vx divided by dou t plus rho into Vx into dou Vx divided by dou x plus Vy into dou Vy divided by dou y plus Vz into dou Vz divided by dou z. Let it be equation number 9a. Fy minus dou p divided by dou y is equal to rho into dou Vy divided by dou t plus rho into Vx into dou Vy divided by dou x plus Vy into dou Vy divided by dou y plus Vz into dou Vz divided by dou z. Let it be equation number 9b. Fy minus dou p divided by dou y is equal to rho into dou Vz divided by dou t plus rho into Vx into dou Vy divided by dou x plus Vy into dou Vy divided by dou y plus Vz into dou Vz divided by dou z. Let it be equation number 9c. Now, multiplying equations 9a, 9b and 9c by x cap, y cap and z cap respectively and adding, one obtains F minus del p is equal to rho into dou v by dou t plus rho into 1 by 2 into del v square minus v cross del cross v. Let it be equation number 10. Equation 10 is called the Euler's equation of motion for a moving fluid. Torricelli's theorem. Speed of efflux of a fluid from a large vessel. Using equation 9, one can calculate the equilibrium velocity of the liquid coming out from a hole in the bottom of the vessel filled up to a height, say h. Let us assume that the density of the liquid to be constant. Let the cross section of the vessel is large and the opening, that is, the hole is small and equipped with nozzle directing the outflowing jet. During the outflow, the whole volume of the fluid in the vessel is in motion and can be divided into stream tubes. One can consider flow of the liquid as stationary. Let us consider the z-axis vertically down and the surface of the liquid in the vessel as z is equal to 0. Obviously, the velocity of the liquid coming out will be along the z-axis only. Therefore, using equation 9c, one obtains rho into g is equal to negative of dp divided by dz, which is equal to 0 plus rho into Vz into dVz divided by dz, since F is equal to rho into g. Now, multiplying both the sides of the above equation by dz and integrating, one obtains 1 by 2 into rho Vz square is equal to rho into g into z minus p plus c. Let it be equation number 11. We may note that what has been said applies to any motion in which all the moving particles of the ideal fluid are in identical initial conditions. Under the condition mentioned above, the velocity of the liquid is 0 in the vessel itself. we may assume that P is equal to the hydrostatic pressure rho into G into Z. Then the constant C is equal to 0. If the hole for the efflux is at Z is equal to H, then the pressure P vanishes, so that Vz square is equal to 2 into G into H, or Vz is equal to square root of 2 into G into H. This result, observed originally by Torricelli in 1643, states that the speed of efflux is the same as that acquired by fluid falling freely through the height h. It is commonly known as Torricelli's theorem. We may note that the velocity v is completely independent of the direction of the jet relative to the horizontal line. It is the same for all the values of the angle of inclination of the jet. Irrotational continuous flow of inviscid fluids. Let us consider that the body force density is derivable, say u, which is usually the case one finds F is equal to negative of del u. Let it be equation number 12. In this case, equation 10 taken the form minus of del u minus del p is equal to rho into dou v divided by dou t plus rho into 1 by 2 into del p square plus O plus v. Let it be equation number 13, where O is equal to negative of del cross v. Let it be equation number 14. The vector field O is equal to negative of del cross v is called velocity. When the motion of the fluid is such that velocity is 0 everywhere, the flow is said to be irrotational or potential flow. A flow initially irrotational will remain so if not disturbed externally. To make it more clear, let us find out the integral of the normal component of n cross v across a surface S bounded by a curve C. Using Stokes' theorem, we obtain integral over S del cross v dot n ds is equal to integral over C v dot ds. Let it be equation number 15. The line integral in equation 15 is taken around the curve C. Now, if the curve C surrounds a vortex in the fluid figure 1a, the right hand side of equation 15 has non-zero, that is finite value, which is a measure of the speed at which the fluid whirls around the vortex. This reveals that del cross v is a sort of measure of the rotation of the fluid per unit area. We may note that del cross v may also be non-zero in regions where there is no vortex, provided there is a transverse velocity gradient. Figure 1b. From equation 15, we may note that a point P in the fluid, the vorticity Om is equal to del cross V is clearly the circulation of V around a unit area perpendicular to the direction of Om. Now consider that a little piece of dirt is parked in the neighborhood of point P. One finds that the piece of dirt will rotate in the angular velocity Om by 2. In order to prove this, let us consider an area element inside the fluid at P having an extremely small radius r. In accordance with equation 15, the dirt particle will be carried by the rotating fluid element along with it. From equation 15, we have Om into pi r square is equal to V into 2 pi r, or Om is equal to 2 into V divided by r, which is equal to 2 omega, or omega is equal to Om divided by 2. However, in the above crude approximation, we have assumed that the velocity vector v and displacement vector ds are always parallel and Om and ds are also parallel. One can also derive the above result rigorously. For this purpose, let us consider a coordinate system rotating with angular velocity omega. Let v dash be the velocity of the fluid at p relative to this system. Then we have v is equal to v dash plus omega cross r, where r is a vector form of the axis of rotation to point P, and v cross r is equal to del cross v dash plus del cross omega cross r. Since omega is a constant vector for all points in the fluid, we can express it as omega is equal to omega x into x cap plus omega y into y cap plus omega z into z cap. One obtains omega cross r is equal to omega y into z minus omega z into y into x cap plus omega z into x minus omega x into z into y cap plus omega x into y minus omega y into x into z cap. Now, taking the curl of both sides of the above and keeping in mind that omega x, omega y and omega z are not functions of x, y and z, we have del cross omega cross r is equal to 2 into omega x into x cap plus 2 into omega y into y cap plus 2 into omega z into z cap is equal to 2 times omega. Therefore, del cross v is equal to del v dash plus 2 times omega. But at a point P in the fluid, we have 2 into omega is equal to del cross v. Then at this point, del cross v dash is equal to 0. Thus, in a coordinate system rotating with angular velocity omega is equal to del cross v by 2, the fluid flow is irrotational at the point P. Interpreting del cross v is equal to ohm by 2, that is the angular velocity of the fluid near P. Now, if del cross v is constant, then it is possible to select a rotating coordinating system in which the flow is irrotational everywhere. If at any time t ohm is equal to 0 everywhere, dou ohm divided by dou t also vanishes. This means ohm is still 0 everywhere at time t plus delta t. This shows that flow is permanently irrotational or potential, that is del cross v is equal to 0 at each instant of time throughout the volume. That is, if a flow was started with 0 rotation, it would always have 0 rotation. Let us consider that at any point del cross v is equal to 0. This means that an element of the fluid at that point will have no net angular velocity about that point, although its shape and size may be changing. Let us imagine a small paddle wheel immersed in the moving fluid as shown in figure 2. Now, if the paddle wheel moves without rotating, the motion is irrotational. Otherwise, the motion is irrotational or vortex. That is, in this region, del cross v not is equal to 0. Obviously, rotational flow of a fluid includes vortex motion such as whirlpools. Equation 10 takes the following form for irrotational motion. F minus del p is equal to rho into dou v divided by dou t plus 1 by 2 into rho into del v square. Let it be equation number 16. In case if we dealing with a type of fluid flow for which del cross v vanishes in the entire region, that is space, the integration of equation 16 becomes relatively simple. In this case, one may represent v as the gradient of the velocity potential psi. Now, let me summarize this session. Archimedes' principle states that a body wholly or partially immersed in a fluid is buoyed up with a force which is equal to the weight of the volume of the fluid the body displaces and which acts vertically upwards through the center of gravity of the immersed part of the body. F minus del P is equal to rho into dou V divided by dou T plus rho into 1 by 2 into del V square minus V cross del cross V is called the Euler's equation of motion for a moving fluid. Torricelli's theorem states that the speed of efflux is same as that acquired by the fluid falling freely from the height h. Now try to solve the given questions. First one, state Archimedes' principle. Second one, give the Euler's equation of motion for moving fluid. Third one, state Torricelli's theorem. Fourth one, when will the flow of a fluid is irrotational? I can suggest some books for your reference. 1. A textbook of fluid mechanics by R.K. Rajput. 2. Fluid Mechanics, a course reader by Jeremy M. 3. An Introduction to Fluid Dynamics by Bachelor G.T. 4. Elementary Fluid Dynamics by Ashton D.J. Thank you for watching this program. See you later. Till then, bye.